Hey guys, can everybody hear me? Thumbs up. All right. We're still waiting on a couple people. There'll be a few that won't be able to join us today. Matter of fact, Lewis had an emergency surgery for at the dental office, so he's not going to be able to join us. But let's see here. Let me make sure. It looks like we got most everybody's here. Okay. Let us start the meeting. Okay, so good morning to everybody. And I like to go over a few things right in the beginning. The purpose of the class, of course, is to help you get financial freedom using real estate. So we want to show you how to make more money, how to keep more money, and how to multiply your money. All right, so what we're looking to do here today is we're going to have Randy speak a little bit, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more about using a different type of a debt tool. So some of you know about the HELOCs, some of you know about the personal lines of credit. Randy's going to go into today a little bit about credit cards, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about interest and how it works. So before we get into that, though, let me first mention that if you have not started your refinance process yet, you need to make sure you start your refinance. You should be doing this about 60 days into owning your property. You don't want to end up paying fees if you go over, I think, 6 months with Avalon, and I think it might be Coreland started, they were 4 months, but I think they're at 6 months as well. But if you go over 6 months before the refinance has taken place, you'll end up paying an extension fee. So you don't want to do that. So make sure you are taking care of your refinance. If you don't know which lender we're going through, get with me after class, and I'll make sure that I'll actually introduce you on a call. I'll go on an email and I'll introduce you. It'll either be Nick or it'll be Sandra. So one of those two will be able to help you with the refinance process. All right. Now, if you're in the process of closing on a house and the process is being slowed down, it's usually because of one of two things. It is usually because either you need insurance or you need a scope of work. And so we'll provide that for you. So I know that with the insurance, I'll introduce you to one of the insurance agents. It'll either be Jessica or it might be, I think in the case with John and with Devin, I actually introduced you to another lady, but she's also with State Farm. But this way, you need to get insurance and you need to have a scope of work. Scope of work, we're going to have Frank or one of the other contractors will get that for you, so that if for your house, whatever work needs to be done, usually it doesn't need to be a lot, especially if you already have the house rented. If the house is rented, it's going to be a very small scope of work. We usually use the scope of work only as a method of increasing the rent. What we do is we tell the tenants that we're going to do these fixes, but their rent is going to go up by $50 or $100 a month, and they usually have no problem with that. Okay, Avalon versus Coreland. I wanted to talk about this. So I know some of you have closed deals with Coreland. Some of you are in the process of closing deals with Avalon. Some of you have closed deals with both. Okay, I have personally closed deals with both Avalon and with Coreland, and I'll tell you firsthand, this is for Josh and Danny and Edna, because Josh, Danny, and Edna have had a bit of it's been more like a bit of, if you will, for the dentist in the class, is a bit of pulling teeth. Okay, so this whole process, it's a pain in the butt. So anyway, in this situation with Coreland, I always recommend the person who you speak with at Coreland is Mandy. Okay, Ray's going to want to talk to you. Ray is one of the he's one of the loan processors at Coreland, but Ray really, he hasn't been in this game very long, and he really doesn't know what he's doing. So a lot of times when you talk to Ray, you're going to be talking in circles. So if you get Ray on the phone, see if you can actually bypass him and go and talk directly to Mandy. Avalon is very good. All of them, everybody knows their stuff at Avalon. So you've got Marla's really good. Robert's great. Kira's actually now, Kira's dealing with Avalon, so she'll be able to attest the difference between dealing with Avalon and dealing with Coreland. But you'll notice that, Avalon is much more easy to work with. All right, but let's move on. I like to talk about our wins right off the bat. So I want to talk about how everybody's doing in the class, so you all know that everybody's, you can see how everybody's doing, and kind of compare your progress. It's not a race, but by all means, you kind of get an idea and see, how fast everybody's moving. Giuseppe is, I would say, if it was a race, Giuseppe's in the lead. He's in the process of closing his 5th house. Okay, so Giuseppe's doing good. Gerald and Andrea, they've closed 3 houses. Okay, so they're also doing awesome. Jermaine has closed 3 houses. Jordan has closed 3 houses. Randy and Valerie have closed 2 houses. Lewis is in the process of closing his 3rd house. Don just closed his 1st house. John and Karen, they closed their 1st house. Kira closed her 1st house and is in the process of closing her 2nd house. So that's awesome. Good job, Kira. Kira's just barely been a month in the program, so she's already she's chasing Giuseppe. So we got Josh Ownby, he's closed on his 1st house recently, so congratulations on that. He just closed on Clearbrook, in the process of closing on his 2nd house. John is in the process of closing his 1st house. Devin is in the process of closing his 1st house. Danny and Edna are in the process, if we can get Corlin to cooperate, they're in the process of closing their 1st house. We got Frank, he got his 1st house. Josh Zolweg has 1 house. Daniel has 2 houses. Matthew has 2 houses. Ray and Vanessa have 3 houses. Dave and Gail have 3 houses. Ishmael has 3 houses, and Martha has 4 houses. So those are our wins. Okay, so now let's move on. We're going to move on into the lesson of the day. We're going to talk about debt tools, and I am going to pass the baton over to Randy. So Randy, if you would, unmute yourself and go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, Korbie. I appreciate it. It's been a good week, and I've gotten to close some of the houses with you guys. And so really exciting work and all the houses that we've had coming through the class. So it's really awesome to see with everybody. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared here. All right.
Randy, I see a golf ball.
You see a golf ball? What?
No, I'm just teasing you. I'm teasing you. Yeah.
Wow, I am from current side. There we go. So it does look kind of like a golf ball. It is actually a honeydew. No, a cantaloupe. It is a cantaloupe because I was in the mood for a snack, and I really wanted something nice and juicy and something I could really wrap my mouth around and just have something with this heat. It's just been killing me. So I've been hot and I really wanted a good snack. But I didn't have a fork or a knife to get into it. I really, really wanted it. So I had to, bite into it and get my fingers in and tear it open. And man, it took me a long time to eat this cantaloupe. I gotta tell you, man, like it was brutal, and it was also a little messy. There was liquids places, and my wife was not very happy with me. And so she, because I don't really work a lot in finding the stuff, she was able to get me some tools to be able to get into this cantaloupe a little bit better. And those tools were a knife and fork. So I was able to chunk it out and make it nice. Long story short, it was a really nice cantaloupe. I really enjoyed it. We piecemealed it. I was able to finish it a lot faster. We threw away the one I kind of ripped apart, and it was a nice snack after all. But that is how we are doing our mortgages. We are paying our mortgages this big chunk right at a time. We start with the whole thing, and we're just doing the best we can to pay it off over our 30 years. And it's messy and it's painful, and we're not using tools to be able to get down to it and finish it off faster in a more pleasurable sense. So what we're talking about, and Korbie alluded to it, is we're going to be talking about the tools that we need to have to begin the process of chunking out our cantaloupe, or our mortgage, so to speak, so that we can get these paid off and increase our cash flow. And so earlier this week, I like to listen to people who are very traditional in terms of how they pay their stuff. And I was listening to a mortgage broker, and he was actually talking about kinetic banking and how people are trying to take out loans and things like that to pay down their mortgages. And he was completely against it, so indoctrinated. He tried to explain how it was a bad idea. And even within his own explanation, while he was explaining how it was a bad idea, he actually ended up explaining how it was a good idea. And he didn't even realize it. It was really quite amazing. I got a real kick out of it. First, I was annoyed, then I found it funny. But his point was that a house's interest is all simple interest. So it doesn't matter if it's a $10,000 loan or a $100,000 loan. And that's just simply not true. Interest is not, the formula for interest is not principal times interest. That's what people want you to think. But, if that was the case and we had an 8% loan on $100,000, then we'd only be paying $8,000 for the entire loan, and we'd have a lot more houses for us. So that equation, right, is literally, again, not principal just times interest, right? So if I had that 100,000 at 8%, I'd be paying the 8,000. Interestingly enough, and again, this would be foolish to compare, and we've seen this in previous classes, 10,000 at 20% is still less than 8,000 simple interest, right? Like, it's foolish to compare 100,000 at 8% versus 10,000 at 20%. Although the 20%, fascinating enough, comes in less than the 8,000 if we look at it. So what is the equation? It is principal times interest times time. The time is very critical in this scenario. Actually, all three of these components are very critical. The longer we have the loan out, the more interest you're going to pay. And we now know this. This is how, again, on that $100,000 loan, you're going to pay $160,000 of interest, because they've moved it out over a long period of time. That's what the banks really don't want you to understand. And we understand that because we've been taking this class here for the last few weeks. Another people, and I'm going to go a little bit of a segue, another person who understands that is the car industry. And they understand a portion of this principle that is very critical. They understand that if you can control 2 out of the 3 portions of interest times temporal, principal times interest times time, if you can control just 2 of those equations, then you can control how much somebody pays for anything. So when you go to buy a car, for example, they always ask you this. They get friendly with you. They take you on a test drive. They get you in the car. They start talking about football, basketball. Ooh, this thing drives nice. And then they drop the most important question they can on you. So what's most important to you? Is it price? Is it payments? Is it, your interest rate? What is the most important thing to you? I know all of you have heard them say that. And you think they're being friendly. You think they're trying to really get you the best deal and understand what is most important to you. And, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you might say, well, payments are really important to me. I can only spend like $350 to $400 a month. And they say, yeah, no, I understand, man. Well, I'm going to do everything I can to help you out. But what we don't understand, or we will now, is that once they've locked you into a specific number, in this case, the payments, they can jack up the price, increase the interest, and now just spread out the term to give you the payments you want. I got you $350 payments. My manager and we worked really hard. I did it. It's going to be for 84 months, for many, many years. but it's 350. Meanwhile, your interest rate is too high. Your price is too high, but you think you got a deal because your payments are at 350. Conversely, if you're like, I just want the best price. Oh yeah, no, I completely understand that. I'm going to get you the best price. We're going to knock $2,000 off this price, $3,000 off this price. But then the terms are bad. The interest rate is bad. They add extra fees, and you still end up paying exactly the same amount. Once you lock into one part of the equation, they control the other two. They control the deal. So this is just a bonus tip for anybody who might actually be going to buy a car. Don't answer that question. What's most important to you? The answer to that question is the best overall deal. And I'll let you know what that looks like. But the example here is that we want to control 2 out of the 3 of the parts of the equation. And that's why we introduce the debt tools, whether that be the HELOCs, the personal lines of credit, insurance, borrowing against those, or even credit cards. Because on those tools, we can control how much we're borrowing at a time and how fast we're paying it back. Because as we all know, we don't necessarily care so much about interest rate. We care about interest cost. And if we understand the equation and we take control of 2 of the 3 of the parts of the equation, we can control the cost that we're spending on our interest. Does that make sense? I just want to I know that's a lot, but I want a thumbs up from anybody who give it to me on that. Yes, okay. So this is why, that mortgage broker would absolutely flip his lid if I said, you know what? It's not maybe the best idea if you have other tools available for you, but it might make sense to use a credit card to pay down your mortgage if you can control those 2 parts of the equation. And so really, really quickly, I'm going to run through, because we've all talked about HELOCs and how to get them and what that looks like. I'm going to run through quickly, because a lot of people have asked me, what do you have to get a home equity line of credit? So just briefly, generally speaking, when you're looking at a home equity line of credit, you would want to have a credit score of 700 or above. You're going to be able to take about 80% of the equity you have in your home. So that could be a lot of money. It could be 20,000. It could be 100,000, depending on your equity. You get these from banks and credit unions. They'll generally do, of course, your credit check and make sure that you can pay back the loan, but you can get larger sums of money. And the benefit of a HELOC is that you do get lower interest rates right now, between like 6 and 10% on those HELOCs. So if you either already have it, or you're looking to find out if that's something you could qualify for, these are generally the core requirements for it. Now, not drawback, but one thing you want to keep in mind on HELOCs is that there's normally a 10-year draw period. And this means that you can draw out, take loans up to 10 years. And then after that 10 years, it locks in for whatever you've borrowed at that point in time. You'll have 20 years to pay it back, just like a home mortgage. So they're not indefinite. You do have to requalify for HELOCs every so often if you want to continue to draw on them. But the benefit on them is that you can get large sums of money. On the personal lines of credit, often you can get those with a credit score as low as 680 and up. Those range from between 5,000 up to 15 to 20,000. So you're not going to get quite as much as you would on a HELOC, but it's also not attached to your house. So it's an unsecured line of credit, which can also be beneficial. You also can get those from banks, credit unions, and private lenders. Generally speaking, those interest rates are going to be 11 to 17%. One benefit of the personal line of credit is that those can be more indefinite. You don't generally have to requalify for those once you have them, as long as you don't default. You can have those for as long as the financial institution allows you to have it. There's not generally a term on that. So having a personal line of credit can be very useful from that perspective. So again, these are places I always suggest first looking to the financial institution that you bank with and that you have a relationship, and look to see if that might be an option. The business line of credit is a great line of credit to look after as well. A lot of us have already established LLCs with the EINs. What you may want to begin doing is focusing on building your business credit. This is a separate aspect. Your business credit is not necessarily tied to your personal credit. So the things that you loan or get loans from will not show on your personal line of credit, or excuse me, your personal credit report, which can be extremely useful. You can often get large sums of money. So taking some time to build your business's credit is maybe as, if not more important than building your personal line of credit, because over time, your business will have a greater ability to leverage larger sums of money that we can use as tools to chunk it out. But again, one of the benefits again is that it does not affect your personal credit. Some of you guys may have whole life policies or things like that. The benefits on these is that you can borrow against the cash value, so you can create your own bank, essentially borrow from yourself. Often these will allow you to pay yourself back with interest. So instead of paying the bank back or even the insurance company, in some cases you can pay yourself the interest and then borrow back against it. So these are some value on that. As you continue to go through your insurance, you can of course grow the amount that you can borrow against. So over time that can be really beneficial. It does not require any credit, business or personal. And of course, you get the other benefits of insurance, you know, death benefits, living benefits, etc. But finally, you know, many of us don't have those first four options, but most of us have a credit card or multiple credit cards. And if they are engaged or not engaged, they can be extremely useful in the process of paying off your house. Now, most people will say, well, if I get a cash advance from my credit card, I'm going to be paying the highest of the high end of the interest rate. And that is true. So there are ways around that to take out loans through, or take lump sum payments through Plastique, which is a website that allows you to make a charge. So you're not paying the cash advance portion of your loan. The interest rates are often, at this point in time, I've seen between 16 and even 31.99%. So you want to be extremely careful that you're using your money appropriately. You're going to want to make sure that you're not taking more than you can cover, and be very cognizant about what the interest cost is. But as we've seen, lump sum payments on your house can save you tens of thousands to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. So if you know that you could pay off, let's say $5,000 or $10,000 in a year, or even two, it might make very real sense to take a loan from a credit card and use that credit card as essentially a line of credit. Is it most ideal? No. If it is the tool that you have available for you, there are absolutely ways for you to do that. And of course, as all of you know, the range of the credit is generally between $100, as low as $100, all the way up to around $20,000. And you can get it with credit scores of around 650, sometimes even lower. So it allows you a very low interest or credit score cost to be able to get into a credit card. You can build your credit faster with a credit card, so that you can leverage yourself into either a HELOC or a personal line of credit, or even the business line of credit. So all I'm saying is, don't dismiss the credit card out of hand. they can be extremely beneficial. In the way that we do our banking, we use the credit cards in conjunction with the HELOCs to help us pay down our mortgages. But if all you've got is a credit card, take a look, do the calculation. Again, even at 31%, if I take, let's say, a $10,000 loan, I'm still only paying $3,000 a year on that line of credit. So if I'm going to be saving more like 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000, it may very well make sense for me to take 2 years at $3,000 per year, pay the 6 on the credit card, and save 60 on the house. So that is definitely another way we're opening our minds in ways to use the tools that we have to make paying off our homes as fast as possible. And so that's really what I wanted to kind of look over with you guys, talk with you guys on, understanding the equation of interest, making sure that we understand that principal time interest times time. That is a critical thing for us to understand. The other thing that we've said from day one, we don't so much care about interest rate, we care about interest cost. Once we understand those two things, we can begin to think very creatively to leverage the tools that we have to be able to pay off not just homes, although that's what we're focused on here, but other lines of credit or other bills that we may have as well. So it's a very short presentation today, but I did want to kind of talk through that, because most people, again, they would think you were crazy if you said, I'm going to use my credit card to pay down my house. They would probably measure you for a rubber suit somewhere. But we know that if we do the right things with the leverage, we can go a lot further, a lot faster than what we would ordinarily do. So, Korbie, I'm going to bring you in. Do you have questions? Any part that's not specifically clear? I want to also open it up to the class to ask any questions there as well.
Okay, guys. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask those questions about what Randy just went over. If anybody has a question, you can put a Q in the box, the chat box, or okay, here we go. Gerald and Andrea have a question. Gerald, go ahead and unmute yourself and let's ask the question.
Hey, Randy. So what's the best way to build your business credit?
Gotcha. So the best way, you're going to need to register your business with the Business Credit Bureau, and I am just blanking on Dun & Bradstreet. Thank you. And so you're going to want to register with that. You want to get the free one. They're going to try to get you to spend money with them, but you register the business with them. And then the best way to do it is to get a couple of credit lines that you would use, generally a gas card, maybe a Home Depot card or a Sam's Club card, and use those lightly over the first 6 months. That is going to report directly to Dun & Bradstreet. The great thing about business credit is that it does not take long for you to get great credit on your business. So you can get extremely good credit within 6 months to a year, and then use that to leverage much larger lines of credit that you can use for your homes. So definitely something worth looking at, and we can kind of look at that as well offline. But yeah, that's what I would do to build the credit, and it's really not that hard. Yeah, just get 2 or 3 small lines, a Chevron card, a Home Depot, whatever it is that you're using. Have those reflect. Try to make sure that you're not personally guaranteeing those credits lines if you can, and that also helps. So good question.
Randy, I have a quick question.
Thank you.
When we have our LLC set up, would it be a good idea then to get a credit card in that LLC's name and use that?
Sure, absolutely. It's just another tool.
Okay.
So, that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that. having credit is not a bad thing. So I think that's another myth that a lot of people really struggle with. We've been told, hey, you don't want to open up too much credit. You don't want to use too much credit. Well, those are two separate things, right? You want to get as much credit as you possibly can. You don't want to use all the credit that you can get, but you want to have available to you as much credit as you possibly can. And I tell people all the time, it is much better to get credit when you don't need it than try to get credit or beg for credit when you do need it. Because here's the thing, the banks want to loan you money when you're doing extremely well, when the cash flow is running, when everything just looks great. They want to give you money. But when times are rough and you need the money and you need the leverage, they don't want to give it to you. Why? Because you're a credit risk. So I will tell you, get your credit when it's most convenient to you and when they want to give you the credit, so that you'll have the credit available to you when life gets a little bit more challenging and you need the credit.
Good question. And Gina, by the way, I will also, I recommend to our students usually to get an American Express card. And what I can do is after we get off this call, I can actually send you the link. There's two different American Express cards. Okay. There's the platinum card and there's the gold card. The platinum card you use for travel and you use for hotels. And the gold card is usually for restaurants and it's for gas. And so I usually recommend, like Kira just recently got one, but there's a lot of students on this call right now that they end up getting, you apply for the American Express business and I'll send you the link because you'll get extra points if you use my link. And then there's also something which the nice thing about it is that then you can start, you register that with Dun and Bradstreet, like Randy's talking about, and then you can build your business credit with that as well. So yeah, so it works.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, so very
Great
well.
question.
Yeah. And also what Randy was saying about the way that banks work in the sense that they'll always, when you don't need the money, they want to loan you the money. And when you need the money, they don't want to loan you the money. So it's always better, almost like having a gun, it's always better to have a gun and not need to use one than to need a gun and not have one. So always, you apply early on when you first get your business, and then you turn around and you more than likely you'll be approved, and then you start building that business credit right away. And then you'll be eligible for that business line of credit. That's going to be, a bigger line. So it works out good. Good. So any other questions for Randy while we have him on the call? Anybody? Well, Randy's going to be on the call to the end, but is there any other questions about
He's
what
kicking
he
me
just
off
went over?
already. It's like, oh, okay, bye.
Okay, if there's no more questions, one thing to keep in mind is that we are offering this just to our students. Okay, that Randy's going to offer a very special deal to some of you if you have a debt tool already. So whether that means if you have a HELOC, if you have a PLOC, if you have a business line of credit, if you have insurance, if you have a credit card, he's going to offer this special kind of a deal where he's going to be able to, we're going to get a few of you, only about 4 or 5 of you want to call. It'll be probably next Sunday. And then what he does, it's anonymous. You're not, you give him your information beforehand, and then he's going to be able to actually show you the best way to pay this debt down. So literally he'll go on there and he'll say, okay, this is your debt tool. Okay, this is how much money we have accessible. This is going to be the best way to approach it. And he goes over, there's different methods of paying down your debt. Okay, so you have, of course, the the debt snowball. That's one that you're probably all pretty familiar with. That's the Dave Ramsey method, where you pay your smallest debt to your largest debt. And then you've got the debt avalanche, where it has to do with interest rates. You've got okay, what looks like John has a question. John, go right ahead.
Yeah, so along the lines of having the debt tool, and this is slightly off topic, but like for a personal mortgage that I have, and I have a large amount in my business line of credit, how's the strategy to utilize your business line of credit to pay down a personal note? Do you just give yourself a distribution from the business and like I guess, use the line of credit to pay the distribution, and then you start paying down the business line of credit.
So that I will tell you, because everybody's business is set up differently, I'm a little reluctant to answer that question specifically.
Okay.
You would want to get with your tax person. But yes, I mean, here's generally speaking, you can loan your business money, your business can loan you money. So that can be an option, but the specifics of how your business are set up and how you journal that into your books and everything like that, you would want to make sure that you're talking to your tax professional just to make sure that you've done it right. But yes, it's absolutely possible. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Yeah. So again, you guys know that if you have a debt tool, if you don't have a debt tool, the goal is then to be able to get a debt tool. Now, most of you have a credit card, which is actually a very viable debt tool. Matter of fact, we recently paid off one of our properties with a credit card. That's one, people don't think you can do that, but you can actually do that through this. There's a website, or there's something called Plastique, and Randy will talk to you about that. And that's something where literally what you do is you pay this particular service, and they write a paper check, because most of these places, like a car loan or a home loan, they won't accept a credit card. But when you go to one of these services like Plastique, what they do is they actually write a paper check, and they send it in your name, and then essentially you can pay things off that way, and you can chunk down your mortgage that way as well. So if you have a credit card, that's a debt tool. If you have a personal line of credit, it's a good debt tool. HELOC, PLOC, all of these are different debt tools. If you do have access to one of those debt tools, let me know after this call, because like I said before, Randy is going to be doing some specific work specifically with individuals, and it's just for the class members. He's not offering this deal to the general public. The general public will pay a lot more. Okay, I'm sure some of you already know that. Devin, I know it's several $1,000s, but still, at the end of the day, I'll pay $20,000 to somebody to save 200,000. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But that's what. But Randy's going to be giving you guys this service at a fraction of the cost. So keep that in mind. All right. So without further ado, then, Randy, and anybody else have questions for Randy? Going once, going
Thank
twice.
you all. I appreciate it.
Sold. All right, Randy, let's go to, you can hand the screen back over to me, and I will get to, let me see if I can do it here on my side. Okay.
I think you just take it back. I'll stop the
Okay.
share there.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And we're going to go to some of the investing strategies. So again, real quick, so you guys know, the easy way to get out of debt and the investing strategy is know one thing: income follows assets. And so you want to acquire as many assets as possible. So if you want to retire, okay, you want to retire young, you want to retire rich, you have to set a number in your head and you want to go after it. So let's say, for example, you want to make $30,000 a month. Let's say you want to be able to generate $30,000 a month. So therefore, you're going to have to make sure you acquire a certain number of rental properties. So that's going to mean you're going to have to acquire at least 20 to 25 rental properties, and that's going to be generating you $30,000 a month. But initially, you're not going to be generating the $30,000 a month, because they will have a mortgage. And if they have a mortgage, then you want to, as quickly as humanly possible, be able to pay down those mortgages, because then that money will be yours free and clear. And if you're making $30,000 a month free and clear, now you're talking, this is money that's going to be life-changing. Okay, so this is going to be legacy money that you're going to be able to leave your children. So keep that in mind. That's what we want to be all striving for. So acquire the assets first, and then the next step is to pay down those assets as quickly as humanly possible. All right, so without further ado, I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to talk to you guys about how we acquire assets. All right, so I will start this screen share, and at this point in time, let's see if, let me just do this here. Okay, I am going to share this. Can everybody see my screen? We're on Redfin. Everybody, thumbs up. Very good. James, you on the call? James?
Right here, boss man. How are you?
Perfect. Okay, awesome, James. Awesome. So yeah, so James, for those of you who haven't met him yet, is our realtor there in Memphis. And James knows Memphis like the back of his hand. So between James and Frank, these are two guys that you want to know. And these guys are going to be able to help us acquire these assets. So every time we get a deal under contract, you're going to find that James is the one that writes up these deals for us, and he's the one that gets it under contract. So without further ado, I'm going to go through Redfin and I'm going to show you my strategy on how I invest in these properties. And this way you can kind of see, and when you're looking through Redfin, you want to have these same things go through your mind. All right, so as we're looking on Redfin, immediately I see a house. This is a house that's $90,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I'm going to click on it. It's a house on Pine Ridge. Okay, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Now, James, can you get an idea of what the RPR or the ARV is on this house?
Absolutely. I think we talked about this one before. So it comes in at about $105,000.
Okay, so James is coming in at $105,000. Now, realistically, $105,000 is relatively low for a house this size, because if you look for the size of the square foot, and you can always look, you want to go down to the on Redfin, it tells the square footage of the house. You're going to scroll down. Okay, as you scroll down, you look and see there's an area which it's going to show the square footage. The area that shows the square footage is right here where it says public facts and zoning. Okay, it says this house is 1,466 square feet. All right, so now the easy way to figure out the price per square foot, you can take the number. Okay, so James came up with a number of $105,000 for the RPR or the ARV of the house. If you take 105,000 and you divide it by the square footage, which is 1,466, it comes up to $71.62 a square foot, which is really, really low. So more than likely, this house is worth more than that. So we'd have to look a little bit deeper into this house. So it's likely that even at $100 a square foot, this house is worth $146,000. It's worth $146 on the ARV. So, which means that we would actually bring this deal to Robert and we look at it. So we take a deeper dive into this house. But let's look at the rent next. Okay, so James, for a house like this, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, in the area code, this is Parkway Village, 38118. What do you assume this house would rent for?
Now, I'm probably going to assume wrong because I'm not the property manager, but you could probably get it for, I'd say about $1,250, $1,300 at the very least.
Yeah,
Easily.
Yeah, $1,200 to $1,400 a month, I guarantee. Yeah, this house, it's in 38118. Now, depending on what part of 38118, it's also going to tell how much we're going to be able to get for rent. Okay, so then the first question you always want to ask is you want to know what is the after repair value of the house, because you want to make sure that you're going to be able to, at $90,000, I don't think you're going to lose on this house, regardless.
No.
Yeah, this is one. Did we put an offer in on this house, James? Pine Ridge?
No, it's not on our list, but we can. I can write it.
Oh, yeah, write this one up. Yeah, I can already tell you this is a good house. So and I'm going to tell you again some of the things you want to look for. So and some of you may find what I'll end up doing is I usually send you guys, I send you a house. I'll send it to you, and then you look and you say, okay, if you want. Oh, there we go. Gina wants me to put her name on it. So all right, so this is we're gonna put this one on Gina. If we get this house, Gina is the one who spoke first, and so she'll get the first dibs at this house. All right, so ARV, we want to know, okay, what is the after repair value? Okay, so you figure per square foot, like I said, even if you figure at $100 per square foot, this is going to be $146,000 ARV all day long. All right, but then if you look, the next thing you want to figure out is your cash on cash. Okay, so how do you figure cash on cash? You want to take the rent. Okay, so let's figure this. I'm going to figure it with you so you can kind of see what goes through our head and what goes through our team's head when they go back and they figure these numbers. Okay, so let's figure on the low end. Let's say it's $1,250 a month for rent. Okay, if you're getting $1,250 a month for rent, you multiply that times 12, you're going to come up with $15,000 rental income for the year. And then you divide it by the purchase price. So let's divide it by 90,000. If you do that, you're already at a 16.6% cash on cash return on your investment. So this is a really good deal. This would be a home run. If we can snag this deal, Gina would be, your first deal would be a home run. So this is actually quite good. Okay, what else do we look for when we're looking at the house? We also want to look at what part of the neighborhood. So let me see, got a question come through. Oh yeah, Gina, yes, if we get it, yes, definitely, it would be great. Yeah, but let's look at where this is. So I'm going to pull up the map, okay, and we're going to look at the map. So this way you guys can look at it with me. Okay, so when I look at the map, you're going to see, I told you guys before, some of you, I told you Getwell Road. This is Getwell Road. Can you all see where Getwell Road is right here? Okay, and everything on this side of Getwell is west of Getwell. Everything on this side of Getwell is east of Getwell. So the thing of houses which are west of Getwell, the further west we go of Getwell, the lower the ARV is going to be. It's going to be a little bit more of a less affluent area. Let's say it's going to be more areas where the tenants are going to be more on MHA, Memphis Housing Authority, that type of thing. They may not be able to afford the rent. But this house is really close to Getwell, so this one would probably appraise pretty high. This one, it's right by Dobbin Ferry, and this is one of the houses that I know Jordan just got this house on Dobbin Ferry, and oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, Frank would say in the hood. Yeah, so we got Piney Woods, Point Pleasant. It's all in the same area. So this is actually a good area. You can see right next to it is the FedEx shipping center. Okay, FedEx is it has one of the hubs in Memphis, Tennessee. So FedEx is where a lot of jobs are. So people like to work around these areas. So this way you have an idea. But okay, so without further ado, let us go on a little bit here. Jordan says he'd have a hard time getting a loan approval if the ARV is low. Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. Again, Jordan makes a good point. He says that if the ARV is low, you're not going to get approved on this loan. So this house right here, even though it looks really good on paper, if we go in and Robert, and they say, hey, we can't find any comps that that have sold in the area for 140 something thousand, it doesn't matter if we look at it and see that, yeah, it can rent for $1,400 a month, but realistically, you're not going to get a loan. They might say, hey, we'll only loan 75,000 on it. So it means that you would have to be willing to come to the table with more money if you wanted to get this asset. Okay, so let us go to another house. Let's scroll down a little bit more and look at some more of these here. Let's see, you see Knight Road right there, that's 115K. Let's look for one that if you see one, James, stop me, okay?
Well, there's plenty, boss. We can buy it all if you want.
Well, here's one that we put an offer in on, right? This is one that we did on Cromwell.
Yes, Cromwell.
Okay, we put an offer on this one. Now this house looks a little bit rough on the exterior, but what did you come up with the ARV on this one?
This one, of course, is an algorithm like the boss man says, but it's coming at $165,000 because it's a much higher end part of 38118 because the square footage as well. It's at least 1,600 square foot that's been tracked so far. Okay, so again, this one comes in at 165 on James's RPR calculator. So right here, this one is likely the ARV is matching up. Everything looks good. It's we deal with Dean Harris and Crestcore. We buy a lot of stuff from them. So it's one of those things where this looks like it would be a good house. Now for this house, realistically, again, rent's going to be right around $1,400, maybe $1,500 a month. If we do the math, let's do our cash on cash. So let's say $1,400 a month, multiply that times 12. You're at $16,800 for the year, and you divide that by the purchase price, which would be $115,000. And likely we would probably see if we can get a discount on this house because of the way that it's going to need a new roof. Just looking at it, you can see that. Just a little bit.
Yeah, 14.6 cash on cash. So this would actually be a really good deal. So another one that is a home run. So if we get this house, I'm sure it will be on one of your guys' names. So yeah, I always, we've got over 70 properties in Memphis. And so what we try to do is we try to spread the wealth. I want to make sure that you all have a chance. Oh, there's Gerald. Gerald says, We'll take it. Sold. All right. So let's look at another house here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Gina. Oh, Gina wants to take that one too. Well, it looks like Gerald and Gina are they're gonna have to wrestle over that one. That's all right. So let's see what else we got here. Let's look at another one here. All right, we're in this area code 38118. I want to kind of see a different area code so you guys can see the difference in pricing in the different area codes. Okay, so here's one that is on, you want to look at Maxine or you want to look at Heckle?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Which one on Heckle?
Well, this one on Heckle right here is 149.
Let's go ahead and pick up Heckle, because I already know what this one's heading, and we need an example.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go to Heckle. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is John. John says, okay, there's one on Flanders too. We'll look at that one next, John. We'll look at that. All right, so this one on Heckle, it's a 3-1. Okay, it's in 38111. All right, 38111 and 38118 are really good areas to invest in. Again, depending on what part they are in. So, James, what kind of an ARV are you getting on this house on Heckle?
Yes, sir. Now this one, of course, is a little bit low, but to give you an idea, this one comes in at about 96,000.
96,000. Okay, so they've got the house priced at 149, and James is only coming in with the $96,000 ARV. Now, here's one thing you want to pay attention to. Now, if you look and see, it says incredible rental to add to your portfolio, tons of square footage in this home. It's currently occupied and is rented for $1,400 a month. But now, if you notice what it says right next to the 1,400, it says by Section 8 tenants. Okay, what is Section 8? Section 8 is MHA. Now, I don't know if we don't necessarily like a lot of Section 8 stuff. We do have a little bit. We have a couple of our houses are on Section 8 or a Memphis Housing Authority, but you have to be careful with these tenants, because a lot of times with Memphis Housing Authority, what happens is if somebody's not paying rent for their house, they don't take care of it. So they'll damage the house. But this is, if you were to purchase this house, you're walking right into $1,400 a month. So that is one. Yeah. And Gina asked a question. She says the ones they're finding with one bath, is that typical? Yes, it is typical. Yeah, 3-bedroom, 1 bath is very typical. You can add another bathroom to add more value. A lot of times, if the house is set up right, you can add another bathroom, and that will definitely increase the value, and it'll increase the rent as well. But so for this house, we would just pass right by it. Matter of fact, the funny thing is we're selling a house. There's a house Kira's purchasing her second house, and is on this same street on Heckle. And Kira, what did we get yours under contract for, Kira? I think it's like 65,000, something like that. It's only a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but Kira's house, this would be $900 or $950 a month for rent. So again, it's a really good deal. 62K. Yeah, Kira's reminded me of 62K. We got her house on Heckle under contract for. So that's a really good deal. All right, so let's let us move here. I want to see the house that John was talking about. Let's see, John, you were talking about the house on Flanders. Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay, Flanders. Let's look at this house right here. Okay, this one just popped up. Okay, this is 120,000. It's in 38118, which is Parkway Village. It's a good area. Okay, Dean and his boys are selling this one. It's a 3-1. Okay, so keep in mind with a 3-1, we're not going to be able to get as much rent as a 3-2. So a 3-1, we're probably looking at about $1,200 a month for rent. Okay, so now this is the notes. It says, what a great addition to your rental portfolio this would be. The property is located near jobs, commerce, and will stay in demand with the local tenant base. Some TLC is needed, and it's sold as is. All right, seller prefers no inspection contingencies. Well, we always put contingencies in ours. So
They can ask, but they don't receive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But if you look at it into a little bit, what are you getting on your ARV on this one, James?
Yes, sir. I'm getting 158. Even though it is a 3-1, like I said, I don't know if you understand, but in Memphis back in the day, it was a huge industrial area. It still is in a way, but they move more distribution now. When they are doing that, certain neighborhoods you'll see, especially in 318 and 111, is they built a lot of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, and always had one bathroom because they're just trying to get houses up so quick, because we had such a workforce back then. We still do. They just need to get them up.
Yeah, so that explains why a lot of these houses you're seeing are one bathroom houses. So if you look, we're gonna scroll down a little bit more and look a little bit deeper into it. You can see another thing you can look and see is what it was sold for. So if you look and see in March of 2020, the house sold for 119,663. Okay, and it was part of a multi-property sale. So likely somebody bought this as a bulk sale. And this house on Flanders, it's a 1,236 square feet. And let's see if we can see where it's at on in this 38118 area code. Let's look at the map. Okay, so we can see. All right, so remember I was telling you guys about Get Well. Okay, so if you notice over here to your, I believe this is Get Well right here. Am I right, James? This one I'm kind of circling my hand around.
It should be Get Well.
Yeah, that's Get Well right here. So it's actually east of Get Well. So it's going to be in a little bit more of an affluent part of Memphis. So you can it calls for more rent. So you can see that this is Boxdale. You can see Wooddale. Some of these houses, we own houses in these neighborhoods. So I can tell you right away that, Fox Meadows, you can see all this. This is 38115 over here. If you see Fox Meadows, you're going to be able to get a little more rent over here. So this would actually be a decent house. We actually, there's Clearbrook. This is a house that it's right here. It looks like, Josh, you got a house right here on this. So this is actually a good area. And I know that they'll loan, more than likely we'll have to talk them down. Likely we wouldn't be able to do 120, but I'll bet you Robert would loan probably like 110, 105 on this house. So if we can put one in for this one, James, on Flanders. Let's put an offer in the Dean. Yeah, let's put them in for 110. Let's see if we can get that, snatch that one up. That'll be for you. That'll be for you, John. I got you covered. Let's see. Let's see.
Y'all don't give us a chance. Y'all just claim it before we can get it.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're looking to get them right away. Yeah, that's what we don't mess around. If we can get some of these houses, we can get them right away.
I don't know. I got faith in James. I think I'll get it for 95. Let's go.
Bada bing.
That's a lot. That's a lot of faith.
Yeah, we make it happen. No, I mean, if we can get it there, we will definitely get it down even lower than that. Yeah, we got all shores, so we got it. So, all right, so let's see here. It looks like if we can see some of these houses, let's look at this house on Alamo Avenue. This is one that's a 3.5, and it is 95K. All right, so this one here, did we look at this one earlier, James, on Alamo?
We talked about it. I remember we talked to people about it. I'll check our notes here in a little bit, see what we did with it.
Okay, it's 95K. This is one you can see it's all boarded up. So this one's probably going to require a bit more TLC. But as you can see, this is one, again, it's in 38118. So a bunch of this stuff is coming up in 38118. And it's actually, these are really good houses. Frank will tell you, these are houses which will remain rented. They're not going to, the minute, they go vacant, there'll be another tenant ready to rent it. So you can see, again, if we look and see, again, 38118, let's just pull up the map so you guys can see what I see. You can see where is Get Well. You always want to look and see. You can see there's South Goodlet, there's South Perkins. Let's zoom out a little bit. You can see Get Well's over here. So this is going to be east of Get Well. This one is here. So this is going to be up in the more affluent part of Memphis. So you can see some of the houses which are near it. Knight Road. There's another street on Danville. Gerald, you guys have a house on Danville. You can see
Cherry Road's there. Cherry Road's a pretty good spot too.
Yep, Cherry Road. So this is actually, this would be a good deal too. So if we can secure this house for the right price, this will work out too. This would actually be a good house for some of you guys. So, oh, there we go. Josh is saying that he wants to put his name on that one. So yeah, make sure you write Josh's name on this. We'll get him into this house if we get that locked up. All right, so we have time to look at about one more, guys. But before we, Tim wants that one. Okay, Gina says Tim wants. Okay, all right. So now, before we get into any more of these houses, does anybody have any questions? Because I want to make sure I answer your questions on the investing side of it. Anybody? Does everybody understand the criteria we look for when we're trying to invest in a piece of property? Devin, okay. Oh, Devin says we need a map. Don't worry, I'm working on it. I got you covered. I got you. We're getting that covered. All right. It looks like, okay, first let's go to Giuseppe, and then we're going to go to Gerald and Andrea. So Giuseppe first. What is your question?
Oh, hi. Yeah, hi. Can you actually hear me on this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I'm wondering if we're making progress on any markets outside Memphis. I know, well, Memphis has been great, but I'm wondering if we're looking elsewhere to diversify a little bit.
We are good question, Giuseppe. So we are Arkansas is matter of fact. The funny thing is that we always want to make progress in areas which we're kind of familiar with. There's Mississippi. Okay, so James, Mississippi's like neighboring Memphis. Like how far is Mississippi from Memphis, James?
So there's actually parts of Memphis where it borders Mississippi. But it actually from the center of Memphis, if you're downtown or some of the houses you're looking at, probably about 25, 30 minutes
Right.
typically.
So, yeah. So Mississippi's is a really good place. We're looking at expanding into. Matter of fact, we're looking to see if we can get James to. James would have to. You'd have to actually get certified in Mississippi, right, to be able to write up a
Yes,
deal
sir.
in Mississippi.
I'm working on that. They
Yeah. Yeah.
make
So
sure you know because they it's actually pretty easy for me to get my license. All I got to do is to take that exam and I'm good to go. So when
Perfect.
y'all ready, we can pull the trigger.
Hey, we're getting close. So Mississippi is one area we're really looking into because it's actually really close to Memphis, and we're looking at another area, Arkansas. And Arkansas is another area which we already have. We own some property in Arkansas. Matter of fact, we bought Frank's first property. We bought that one for Frank, and Frank has his wife is from Arkansas, and so that's another thing. So you always want to kind of have some boots on the ground in any area you're trying to invest in. So if you have the boots on the ground, then it's going to be something where we can say, okay, no problem. We have the manpower, we have the team, it's expanded. So we're working on that. So within probably the next 2 to 3 months, we'll be actually being able to say, okay, hey guys, here's another map. We're going to look not just in Memphis, but here's the area codes to invest in Mississippi. Here's the area codes to invest in Arkansas. So this way you'll have a good idea. Okay, so Gerald, you had a question, and then West Memphis. John has a question after that. So Gerald first, and then we'll answer John's question.
Yeah, my question was to James. James, what was the ARV for Cromwell again? I'm sorry.
168,
Cromwell.
right?
Yeah, about when you want to pull up give me that address one more time just to make sure.
Yeah, Cromwell was this one. It's 4938 Cromwell.
4938.
I believe you said 168. I can't remember, but it's 160 something.
We checked Flounders earlier, but it's 165.
165. Yeah, 165.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
actually, yeah, we did. My bad. We did talk about this one.
Yeah. Cromwell's going to need a new roof. So figure $15,000 into that price too. So yeah, we're definitely going to see if we can get it for 100. We'll be okay because it's 115 right now, and that thing you can already see just from the pictures that's going to need a new roof. So
yeah, sometimes you kind of prefer that way because that's why a lot of these properties lately have come up like that because people know the market's slowly changing. And so what they do is they price them much lower, which favors y'all because you're able to get something below ARV and just do fewer repairs. Some might be more major than others and actually have that investment on your side.
yeah, very good. Very good.
All right. Thank you, James.
Absolutely.
Let's answer John's question as well. So John is asking about West Memphis. So what do you think about West Memphis, James?
So that's kind of a loaded question. There's there's opportunity in West Memphis. Usually what a lot of people do is when they invest in West Memphis, it's near kind of where the casinos are. So we actually in Tennessee, we're not allowed to have casinos. So what we do is we allow them to have one over there in West Arkansas when they put their billboards over there in our properties. But so a lot of people go over there to gamble in a little small entertainment area. But past that, there's not too much in West Memphis. A lot of people do sometimes commute. Of course, once you go towards certain areas like Little Rock, there's a little more population as well, but it's not nearly as advantageous as Memphis has been in Tennessee, if that makes sense. I'd actually had a lot of people have their license in Arkansas, or they'll have lenders that have licenses in Arkansas, and sometimes they don't renew it after the first 2 years because they just don't do enough.
Okay, so let's go to another house. I want to make sure we get one more in here before we wrap this call up. I'm going to go to a different area code. This is one that some of you may be familiar with, some of you may not be. 38128. This is an area called Raleigh. Okay, so now James, can you look up this address on Lucky Trail? Lucky
sure
Trail.
can.
Yeah, and let's see what kind of ARV. I feel lucky. We've been talking about casinos. We're talking about all this stuff. And then we come across a house on Lucky Trail. Let's see. This might be
I'll
a
tell you,
house.
next time y'all come to Memphis, you know, if you get a little bored, you just go over the bridge. It's about, like I said, 20, 30 minutes to go over the bridge and get to the Southland casinos. It's a cool little area, but they just have not put much money into it, if that makes sense. But Lucky Trail is coming in about 169,000.
Wow. That I feel lucky on this one. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, there's Devin. Devin says me, bro. Okay, 169,000. This house is listed at 80K. And what when you look at that, Dean and his boys are selling this. All right, James, we're gonna have to put an offer in on this one here. Okay, that's it.
I got you.
Is it? This is one right here. So now, if you guys know, the reason why this house is coming in so high is because Raleigh neighbors Bartlett. Am I right, James? Raleigh?
Yes, Raleigh it borders, you know, Millington, and also borders Bartlett, which has higher, you know, price points, because usually a blue collar area, and so you're going to get a lot higher ends than you would in typically 128, 111. As well, most parts of 111, there is a very luxurious district in 111 that I would not invest into, but it'd be nice to live in.
Yeah, there we go. And this one has a nice green grassy yard. You can see that, you know, this is one that, you know, hell, I may move into this house, bada bing. And then I got your message too, Danny. Danny says that you put his name on it. Well, you're gonna have to wrestle Devin for it. Yeah, Devin and Danny are wanting to wrestle over this one. But if we're able to get this house, this would be really it'd be a very good house for you, because again, when you're looking at the house, the first thing you want to look at is you want to look and see, okay, what is the ARV? How is this, you know, is this gonna, and we come up with 168,000 ARV, it's an $80,000 house. So it's a really good, it's a smoking deal right off the bat. Oh, there you go. Gina threw her name into the wrestling match as well. So, but yeah, so it's $169,000 ARV. In addition to that, it's a 3-2. So it'll rent for anywhere between $1,200 and $1,400 a month. And you're only paying $80,000 for it. So this is, oh, there we go. John is in there. He says, I'll take it. He says, I'm paying cash. No. All right. So you can see that this is actually a good deal. So when you're looking at the houses, you can see that there still are some good deals that are on Redfin. Now, of course, the best deals are the deals that are not even advertised on this. If you're able to find a deal that's not listed on Redfin, or if you're able to find a deal, you know, sometimes these wholesalers come across a deal, that kind of thing. You can always, there's different ways, there's different websites you can go to be able to find these houses and find them at better deals, or be able to find a distressed homeowner, and you're able to get that house under contract for a really reasonable price. So this would be actually a very good deal. It checks all the boxes, but we're running out of time here, guys. So I'm going to have to stop the screen share, and we're going to go. Any more questions up to this point here? Any more questions before we wrap this call up? Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to talk about your homework again. Okay, every time I talk about this, I say that, you know, all the deals you guys have been getting, pretty much we've been getting them for you. My whole team, I mean, I have a whole team of people working on this, you know, 24 hours a day. So they're finding deals for you. You know, people are calling us, wholesalers, everybody like that. But so if we give you a fish, if we give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If we teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So you guys want to be sending me, your homework is to send me 3 deals. I want you to look at those deals almost just the way I showed you. I want you to look at Redfin, look at different sites. You can look at Zillow. There's all these different sites, and find a house which meet these criteria. And then if we don't already have it under contract, or if we haven't already made an offer on it, we'll put an offer in. I'll talk to James. We'll put an offer in, and we'll get this house. We'll try to get it under contract, and we can see about getting you guys your deals. So without further ado, I just want to mention again before I end this call, Randy, is if you have a debt tool, okay, so most of you have at least a credit card. If you have some type of a debt tool, a credit card, a HELOC, a PLOC, a business line of credit, anything like that, and you're looking to kind of understand how to get your way out of debt, or you're looking for some type of a game plan, then make sure that you actually message me after this call, because Randy is going to be taking small groups of students and we're going to be working with them on the off time. And essentially what he does is he's going to get your information beforehand. It's all anonymous, so nobody will know that we're talking about you, but he's going to actually draw the game plan up of how you're going to be able to get out of debt. So get with me after class. And then what we do is we set it up and you'll be paying a fraction of what some of these people will charge you. Like I said, several $1,000s, which it's not, that's actually a really good deal. I would pay $20,000 to somebody any day of the week to save 200,000. But that's what I'm saying. You just have to understand the value of what he's trying to do. So if you want that service and you want some help, message me after class and I will get it set up, because he's only going to take 4 or 5. We can only take so many per each call. It's going to be about an hour and a half, and it's going to be something we do on the off times between our classes. So, and he's only offering it to our students. So don't go tell your friend or family member and say, oh, you know, Randy, he's doing this and this, because they're not going to pay the same price that you guys are paying. All right. Trust me, it's going to be about 10 times that price. So if you want that help, then by all means, message me and I will get it set up. And then, you know, next week we don't have a call, but next week it's likely we'll probably, for those of you who are able to take advantage of this, we can actually get Randy, you know, he'll be talking to you beforehand, but he'll get you set up and then we can actually do that, another Zoom call with him. All right. So if nobody else has any questions, anybody, this is your last opportunity to ask a question. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Last thing I'll say is if you do not have a goal sheet, make sure you message me afterward. I'll get you a goal sheet. Okay, there's Devin. Devin has a question. Devin, go ahead. What's your question, buddy? How do you figure out the ARV? Devin's asking, how do you figure out the ARV? So there is the formula to figure out the ARV. Okay, now we're working on getting you guys a program. Okay, James has a special little program. It's only for realtors. And so that's why, you know, I haven't been able to offer you guys this specific program, but there is a specific app that you can use to figure out the ARV. And once I make sure I secure that, I will share it with you, because what happens is you just punch in a house and it'll come up with an ARV. And we want to make sure that those numbers are in line with what our hard money lenders have. So the one that James is using is very much in line with what Robert's using and what the guys at Avalon Capital are using. So we want to make sure we have that. But yeah, I'm working on that, Devin. You can do it the old-fashioned way, and that the old-fashioned way is that you find, you know, 3 houses which are in the vicinity of the house you're looking for that have sold in the last 6 months, and you take those numbers and you figure out with the square footage, you can figure out the ARV. But that's going to be a little bit harder to do as opposed to the easy way. I'm trying to make things easy for you guys so you don't have to work a lot. All right. So anybody else? Questions? Anybody else before we end this call? Okay. If there's no more questions, then you guys make sure, work on your homework. Okay. Make sure you send me those deals. Now, don't send me, let me just make sure before I end this call, let me make sure, don't send me a spreadsheet of 20 houses. I will not even look at it. Okay. Have you guys ever seen a text message, which is like a page long? You know, I just skip over it. I don't even look. So send me 3 houses. I want you to specifically, you narrow them down. Don't send me 20. Don't give me homework to do. Don't give me say, oh yeah, here, look through these. Like, I'm not even looking at it. Okay. So I'm saying, send me 3 houses that you found that you think are good deals, and I will look through them and I will tell you why they're not a good deal. And then we'll be able to see if we can get them under contract if we don't already have them under contract. Okay. All right, guys. So if there's no more questions, I will plan on seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. Some of you, I'm sure I will see you on a call next week, because we'll get on a call with Randy and we're going to work on chunking down some of your debt. But until next time, my friends, onward and upward. We'll catch you guys later.
Thanks, Korbie.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.